picks that Afreeca Freecs did make, and a lot of them were in the draft phase. So here we are, into Champion Select for game number 3, LS. And what do these teams do to fix the blunders that have been the drafts in game 1 and 2, honestly?
I'll tell you what to do. Put Brook on a neutralizer champion that can aimlessly wave clear without having to actually fight against the opposition, which Lissandra Blind is not able to do that against certain champions. So, anyways, Afreeca, with the LeBlanc and the Zoe being banned away.
LeBlanc.
Yeah,
LeBlanc. And the old Jason Rise being taken away on the side of DAMWON. I like denying the Rise from Keen. And as you can see, we're going to have no subs. So no one coming back in on the side of DAMWON Gaming. And we're not going to be switching things out on the side of, you know, Dread for Spirit or anything like that. Vladimir going to be banned here by DAMWON, not wanting to let Keen get his hands on that super hard carry in the late game. And Lucian is going to be let through because Sol, honestly, was relatively forgettable on that pick. And Nuclear had a great time on the Ashe as Silas being considered and locked away.
Take it over, Atlas. I'm trying to get banned on Twitch.
I'm looking towards a potential solo cast for this next game if drafts like this continue. Not looking forward to the Junior series coming up after this because it might just be my voice getting totaled.
I will say that the Silas Rod of Ages Spirit Visage Iceborne Gauntlet build is much better than the absolute waste that is the Proto Bell AP type Silas.
Yeah, I know, yep.
So as long as they have that. Now, one thing that I guess I would say that maybe is a positive thing about Silas is that when you do pick him on early, it can dissuade opponents from picking key ultimates and maybe trying to just... I'm holding it together right now as Aatrox is locked in.
I'm okay with this one, though, because Canyon could have picked it for himself, right? And Aatrox in the jungle, I actually have a lot of good things to say about. I enjoy it. I like it. However, you put him in a lane, I hate it. I think it's awful. Makes me very sad.
Well, I think at this point when they show the short-range Lucian and the Aatrox, I think it's pretty safe, actually, to just lock in the Lissandra right now, as with Syndra and Zoe already banned away, as well as Ryze and Jace, there's really only Orianna there to match it, but maybe Afreeca wants to go with the Kalista Galio to also sort of neutralize.
Kalista Thresh, I would prefer. However, Rek'Sai was left up. And of course was left up throughout, I believe, the entirety, unless it was last banned in the second game. May have been the last ban to come through, but that was after the first round of picks. So Rek'Sai will make her way back onto the board here. Clid did show a victory for the Rek'Sai, but when it was in the hands of Humble Life Esports, it got obliterated by Def's Jinx. It was honestly food. So, not so great.
DAMWON now lock in the Braum, and the Braum is going to be very good against dive all-in attempts that could come out of Afreeca. And it's confusing when DAMWON shows the short-range, forceful engage, physical damage that's coming out of them so early on into the draft. Afreeca doesn't try to just counter and answer that, as DAMWON's comp was already face up, but now, moving into the second phase here, Kindred being banned away. And even though there's already massive amounts of physical on DAMWON Gaming's side with a lot of on-hits, which means that Ninja Tabby would have been a really free item choice, and Thresh and now Lissandra banned away. Nocturne as
I just don't know why you're banning junglers at this point in time. I don't like it so much, as they're assuming that Flame is definitely taking that Aatrox towards the top side of the map. I certainly do not want that to happen, but we'll see what does happen here as DAMWON have the opportunity of picking away the Galio. Afreeca Freecs heading towards having a Galio guaranteed because, you know, it's not likely going to fit into a solo lane at this point, as Yasuo is insta-locked.
So the Yasuo now picked up by DAMWON. That is quite good against the Sylas.
I can feel your brain slowly imploding. It's we're witnessing another draft where things are going in weird and wonderful directions, and that's only going to continue here. If the Renekton is going to be locked in, that will be guaranteeing a Sylas mid lane, unless we're going to have real crazy stuff.
Hold on, I have faith for a second. That is a lot of physical damage on DAMWON. There is a jungler that exists that deals massive amounts of magic damage. Now, I know what you're thinking, what DAMWON's probably thinking. Elise, right? No. Hold on. Something better. And also, if I swear, if Sejuani gets locked in for DAMWON, I'm going to pop a blood vessel.
You will, actually.
Karthus does exist. They can locate it. Flame, please tell me that you're saying it.
Please tell me you're picking
not
a
Zach,
fun matchup into the
Sejuani.
Renekton. Oh, Kennen. I mean, Kennen is something that can abuse a Renekton matchup in times gone by. Flame, of course, is an example of a player that's played a lot of Kennen into Renekton because he was playing around Season 3, where Kennen Renekton was basically all we saw on the top side of the map, so that is going to be in the hands of Flame, the old Kenny. And stay with me. Stay with me, LS. Come on, mate. Come on. I tried to do my glass half full analysis on the DAMWON composition, and you can understand why it happened, as Keen and Brook are going to do some more funny business, as Keen is probably going to be piloting the Sylas in the mid lane, despite his position here in the draft.
So the interesting thing here is that Sylas actually has relatively valuable ultimates. He has knockups that are granted to him if he steals the Yasuo ult via his teammates. The
Actually,
Kennen ultimate,
one from basically everyone.
yeah, exactly. So the Sylas, in a weird way, DAMWON actually gave Sylas a lot of powerful ultimates. We're going to take a look at the team compositions once again, but I'm going to talk about the absolute problem that DAMWON is going to have in this game, if I'm being gentle. As Afreeca, the Kalista Galio, they did end up securing it anyway. Renekton, Rek'Sai, and Sylas. So Sylas is going to be the only one, for the most part, dealing any magic damage, I guess accompanied by the Galio. Lots of disengage potential there. And honestly, massive amounts of healing and just innate tankiness inside of this team comp with an ADC that is able to kite away from all of these champions with ease. Kennen, Aatrox, Yasuo, Lucian, and Braum. This is the definition of just go face. And if they fall behind, there's no coming back with this team composition. It is so easy for the enemy team to itemize against this. This has given me, I just watched LEC yesterday, and this is looking like the AD version of the SK AP composition they drafted. Karthus with all AP.
Yeah, that's called free magic resist. We'll see what happens here as we get into game number 3. We're very close to an aneurysm for LS right here. It's getting towards where hospitals may need to be notified and on standby, as DAMWON are doing some wraparound strats here as Dread is waiting in the brush.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
As they would expect, as Canyon looks like a face check, but it ain't, as Dread has to flash very early on. That could have been way worse though.
Definitely a close call there.
And I love it. I mean, you pick Braum. He's got probably the best level 1 that you can possibly have. Use it. Head into the jungle. Figure some stuff out. As it does mean that Afreeca Freecs do get some deep vision around the enemy blue side. But otherwise, getting a free flash sounds great.
And DAMWON, they start things off with a very slight advantage here, as Rek'Sai not having the flash available on her does definitely stunt some of the abilities to gank, especially in top lane. And
now,
that's the lane to watch, actually. The Sylas versus the Kennen. And we'll see if he ends up adopting the new build of the Rod of 8. Okay. Lane swaps.
This is odd. As Brook is going to take Slice and Dice as the first skill choice. I don't know why.
And we're going to have Kennen in the mid lane. And so there's an interesting component about this. Sylas versus Yasuo in mid is more favorable for Sylas, but in top lane, due to the length and extended nature of the lane, Yasuo is able to have a lot more freedom and wiggle room and solo kill potential on Keen on the Sylas. And so, even though the Kennen won't have the easiest time wiggling around and trying to abuse the Renekton, there's a trade-off for it.
Yeah. Do you understand? Level 2s have been hit from both of these players here, as Showmaker going pretty aggressive. Has, if you'll notice, taken the Fleet Footwork instead of the Conqueror, which I would have assumed Conqueror would have worked out in, like you say, a longer lane So certainly this is an example of DAMWON Gaming adapting to the changes that Afreeca have made in their lane assignments. But Flame is going to have a lot of control here because we know Renekton versus Kennen is an example of a Renekton having a crappy time. And especially in the earlier levels, right?
Keen right here. Losing a little bit of HP. Also has the Doran's ring, so that is an item that you pick up if you want to trade early on. Oh, he missed the cannon. Yes, so that is, that's definitely a bad news bears.
Certainly is. Having a look at the jungle matchup, you can see basically mirrored starts here for both of the players. Canyon going to be juggling between his blue buff and his Gromp at this point in time. Dread doing a very similar thing, but a little bit faster. Rek'Sai is going to move her way towards this top side as Tremor Sense shows that Showmaker is moving his way forward. No flash available, and that's going to be actually coming in from Keen there first up, but without Dread's follow-up, they're not going to be able to get there, and this is why it was so important that that flash was blown early.
Yeah, and Showmaker having to burn his flash to live there, but the flip side is that everyone gets to hit tab right now. You know exactly how much CS Dread has, and you know what camps he has up. So now this Rek'Sai that is flashless here at 4 minutes into the game, everyone on DAMWON gets to play with map hacks.
Yeah.
Essentially, and know, hey, we know where Dread is, we know where he can and can't be in terms of gank setup, and so, honestly, if DAMWON ends up having something go wrong, it's their own fault at this point.
Oh, wow. Dread had knowledge of where Canyon was going. He's now just going to walk into him here. Does have to tunnel his way out, and 300 health is not an amount that you want to be going toe-to-toe against an Aatrox with in the jungle. This Canyon has already come back from base, does have that Chilling Smite available to himself, and thankfully Dread does have the vision advantage with Tremor Sense, which we haven't been able to talk about for quite some time, but is certainly relevant. As, okay, he's going to be able to grab his big wolf. And Dread, almost pulled back by the Infernal Chains, but thankfully is able to crawl her way out of there as the Rek'Sai. Bottom side of the map, I mean, it feels like a matchup that the Afreeca Freecs were gunning for from the beginning. The draft was pretty lenient on them because the Lissandra was, Lissandra was banned away instead of the Galio. I thought that Thresh Galio was going to be the guaranteed bans, but the Lissandra fitting in there means that the Galio was picked up by Senate.
And right now, Brook is being pushed in here in the mid lane as there's quite a CS gap that is present right now. Now, there is a very big wave coming in. We'll have to see how much of this Brook can end up getting as Flame whiffs on one of those minions, but definitely going to get some chip damage here on the plate.
Yeah, and Flame's just going to be shoving this one over and over again, and Brook just has to take it. Grin and bear it is how this lane is going to go. I feel like it's a little bit more than range versus melee. As Flame, you can see he's got a bevy of different items. He's hit full build already, thanks to Kleptomancy. And as far as Kleptomancy lanes are concerned, this is certainly one that you're going to feel pretty good at. And that's just what happens when Afreeca Freecs, obviously, with what they were banning away, right? They banned away junglers. The Kindred and the Nocturne were what they decided to ban. As there's the flash forward as Flame. He's got ultimate. He's able to get on out of there very comfortably. The rest of his team are saying, you can deal with it, mate. You're absolutely fine. We're going to take an Ocean Drake, and they're going to do it very easily. On the side of DAMWON.
And this is an interesting thing to try to capture, and the reason that I say that is because, yes, it is 6.5 minutes into the lane, but
who benefits?
Who actually benefits here outside of Lucian, as Yasuo doesn't have mana? Hit me with it.
It's Brawl.
Oh.
Think of all the Winter's Bites that you'll be able to get with all that extra mana.
Nice.
Always going to be able to afford every single Unbreakable, no matter what. Just perfect. Wonderful stuff. So yeah, more of a Denial Drake, more of a Cycle Drake, and they're going to be pretty sad about it because it's going to be a Clown Drake as you coined it. LS coming in as Drake number 2. But DAMWON probably going to be able to get themselves into a decent position when it comes to an Elder Drake pickup towards the later stages of the game, and you want to have as many win conditions as possible. And when you're the one with a monopoly on the Drakes, you already have a monopoly on the lanes, so you may as well get as much as you can. As that was a real cute Humble Dash getting Canyon out of there, but is he actually out just yet? Only level 5, and Dread bullying on this new and improved Rek'Sai in the jungle.
Right now, Dread is oddly...
He's 1v2ing comfortably in the mid lane right now.
And Dread, I think, is going to be able to steal away the red. And this is such a peculiar thing to be witnessing, as just a few moments ago, Canyon was in a position to put Dread 6 feet under.
Well, Dread's actually going to be a challenge for this one as well, as Canyon will witness that his red is now rotating around the Rek'Sai. And all this priority that they have in the mid lane, Brook was actually able to shove things up because Sen enjoyed him there in the mid lane, which is why Dread was able to get inside access on that red buff. You would expect that, you know, a lot of that blame would be heading towards Flame, but it was good use of the Galio. Bit of a sacrifice onto Soul, but he had a wave crashing in towards him. So just smart play coming out of the Afreeca Freecs. The Showmaker getting ganked here by Dread, does use the flash, gives the knock up, and the ultimate is going to come in there. Showmaker gets a lot of work done though as Canyon finds the last hit on the Q, and now with the red buff rotating around him, Keen has to run the hell away. The Abduct is going to get him to safety, as now Brook is going to find Flame in the river, but that 1-for-1 went way better for DAMWON than we could have otherwise expected.
Yeah, Dread, it says that his ultimate is on cooldown, but I'm not sure when he activated, or did he activate it during the Yasuo animation from Sylas? We're going to take a quick look at it. And here we see that the whole thing just starts. Dread knocks him up. And right here,
the ult was stolen. As Dread, I guess, popped his ult, but then just died to Canyon.
I thought he's not targetable.
Yeah, I'm confused, man.
I'm not entirely sure what just ended up happening, as this is the Rek'Sai change patch.
Yeah, where you basically can't get out of the way of the ultimate.
Dread was an alpha.
Guaranteed to land.
So I'm not quite sure what just happened there. Blue now picked up by Dread as he proceeds into the middle lane. And Flame is actually doing quite a bit of work here. It looks like he's going to be able to get his second turret plate. He has the Sorcerer Penetration boots as well here, and the Kleptomancy paying dividends here.
Absolutely. He's in a great position here on this cannon. Will be accelerated beyond all reason because he's been able to freely abuse Brook. So does have a CS advantage, but just think about the fact that whenever he presses Lightning Rush, he gets 2 auto attacks on the Renekton almost every single time. And look at this. I mean, Sennen has to spend the majority of time in the mid lane. It is good for Soul. I mean, Soul is able to, you know, he's at the moment taking a Krug camp, but he does have relative CS parity at this point, which could be way worse. And Dread somehow is able to get huge priority top side of the map. But it is turret plates going down, bottom side, and Canyon's going to turn up. That's a flash forward from Nuclear. He has the culling, and Soul does not have his life. That's the double tap, and that is a very dead Kalista.
And this was a really nice rotation down there in bottom lane, taking advantage of the fact that Sennen was spending a little bit too much time on the left-hand side of the map. And interestingly, we saw that Showmaker backed all the way up preemptively, I think anticipating that Sennen was going to come top lane with Dread, and that's what DAMWON Gaming was trying to do with Canyon down in bottom. So while Showmaker read it correctly, Soul did not.
Well, Shelly doesn't actually have her eye out at the moment, so we'll get a second charge. It's actually bad luck for Showmaker, as she closed that eye as she was moving up towards the inner turret, so it's going to be some free damage coming in there. Not going to regen on the inner turret, of course, guys. So Brook down to below half health here, just taking abuse from Flame over and over again, and we'll see whether this Renekton's going to be relevant as Flame's getting collapsed on. But Canyon is here in position. Flame moves towards his strong side of the map, and he will be absolutely fine. He's just absorbing pressure. So far in the mid lane, does mean that the Afreeca Freecs were able to claim a lot of control topside. But what does Yasuo love doing? Overextending. And so Showmaker's still going to be able to find some farm up here. He goes home and will be able to augment all of this extra push power with a static Shiv very, very soon.
We're going to take another quick look at the replay here. You can see Soul trying to just come in here to maybe defend the turret and the plates. Ends up flashing and using his heal. But it was all in vain, as nothing was going to come from that. That was going to be positive. And as we return to live, 1,000 gold lead here for DAMWON Gaming. Clown Drake is available on the map, but not the highest priority, although I do suppose it can help out with Aatrox and Kennen, and Yasuo engages, just trying to close the distance between themselves and the enemy team.
Yep, certainly movement speed is never a bad stat, and that means that Canyon is going to start this one up. Dread is over here, though, and with Tremor Sense, notice that Canyon has started this one. Hoyt moves on over, and the Braum, aware of the fact that Afreeca Freecs have a few members around this area. Flame moves on in, Showmaker walks over a ward. DAMWON, a lot of control, and that Prey Seeker is not going to steal away any Cloud Drakes. Double Dragons here available for DAMWON Gaming. And Dread might actually be in a little bit of trouble here. Ardent Blaze doesn't find him, is now going to fight. In the mid lane, Showmaker is in there. Double Slicing Maelstroms are available. The Ignite not going to tick down, though, as Flame goes into stasis, and Showmaker just trying to bait them on forward. Nuclear is in here. Keen is burning down. There's the double tap, and there's the death as Senin should join him in the death chamber. Finally, Showmaker does die, but it's a positive trade for DAMWON Gaming.
And DAMWON are going to be able to convert this into the mid-tier 1 turret, most likely, as Brook is looking for an angle in here. Now with Soul arriving, they'll at least be able to save the last turret plate, which is a very big victory, considering the turret plates are about to fall here in 12 seconds.
Yep, certainly good news. But it was pretty exciting watching double Slicing Maelstrom, so we're going to do it again here.
And so, yeah, right here, DAMWON, they start this fight off, but then Afreeca, they want to try to turn the tides as Showmaker, right there at the end, you can see, just manages to make it out with a sliver of HP remaining as the rest of DAMWON Gaming end up arriving. And you can see that Afreeca, they're really out of position in this fight. They didn't have their AD carry. Soul ends up running through River for no reason. Could have stayed in bottom, gotten minion waves, tried to get bottom turret plates, but now Afreeca, they find themselves down about 1.3k gold. It's not the end of the world, as their team composition does still have a lot of stuff going for it in the later stages. However, I do have to point out that Keen is not going for the Rod of Ages build.
Oh no, he's doing the thing that we
really
don't like.
The Psy LCK build.
Yeah.
I was trying to go
the
with
Psylos, as we call it.
The Psylos.
As Showmaker has finished his Static Shiv, so Keen's gone for the wrong build, and Showmaker has gone for a lot more pushing power as Flame has found Brook, and he's got his Proto Belt, and that's actually going to be a great thing on the cannon, of course, because we wouldn't want on-hit cannon here. And he easily clears up that minion wave very effectively. 1-0-1 on the cannon so far, 30 CS advantage. Kleptomancy ticking up damage after damage. And we'll see what he actually decides to build here. I do like Morellonomicon when you're up against Renekton, who does have a lot of natural healing. And they are going to be able to take down this mid-outer turret. That's going to be their first turret of the game. Canyon comes on in here as Brook is able to slice his way out. And Keen has a lot of staying power here as World Ender has been picked up for him. Showmaker takes a whole bunch of damage there from Dread, who of course has a lot more ability to do damage on this Rek'Sai. But now Nuclear's found Soul, and Soul has no Oathsworn around. The Culling's going to go wide, but Rend is now on cooldown. The dash forward, the piercing light, and that is a dead AD carry. And now the World Ender will need to be popped here from Keen if he can get it. Does so, but now he's just going to have to try and get out. Gets knocked up, gets destroyed. And now the Afreeca Freecs are without 2 members, and the World Ender of the Aatrox's own is going to get picked up. Should be a clean ace here for DAMWON Gaming as Dread tries to limp away, and Preyseeker's not going to help at all.
Yeah, and this game is just completely turning on its head. Afreeca do not look like they're going to be able to stabilize and get to the point where their team comp would be able to come online. And Soul is running down to bottom lane, stops for a control ward, takes a quick pit stop, realizes right here that he has flash available, can't locate the F key though, so Nuclear able to just drop a bomb on his head. And then Keen using the ultimate, but to no avail. Brook decides that he wants to get in on the action. He figured everyone else is dying, so he wanted to do it too. Slicing Maelstrom came in, Dread ults, but tells Senin that, you know what, you're on your own. Yeah. As not a lot is going well for this game.
And as Valdez likes to give you guys his play-by-play analysis of the player cams, that was, the translation is nice, nice. There we go.
That was really nice, Alice.
Thanks, man.
I can tell
I've been working on my Korean. I really have. As Dread, Infernal Chains is going to land, and Hoyt's going to join him there. No ultimate available just yet from the Braum, but Dread just gets destroyed. One more auto attack means that he's out of the fight now as Senan is going to be able to escape, and the Renekton does take down the Yasuo. Keen diving on forward, does pick up the Slicing Maelstrom, but look at all of this exit damage. Nuclear is going to throw a lot of bullets into the back of Brook with the culling, but it doesn't mean he's able to connect to Senan or Keen, which were his priority targets. And Red Buff does go over to Dread. So nicely done there from the Afreeca Freecs to stagger out of the fight. But the Infernal Drake will still go to DAMWON Gaming, and they still have all of the control.
And that's going to be another Infernal Drake that's going to be spawning after that. So DAMWON rolling really well right now as Afreeca are still very much so on the back foot. You can even see both Black Cleavers not completed yet for their team composition. We'll take another quick look at this team fight right here. Keen locking up Showmaker on the right-hand side, but it didn't look like Afreeca knew or decided how they wanted to take this fight. And Senan gets a really good taunt. They end up bringing Showmaker down right away, but Keen waiting until next year to use the flash with the Kennen ultimate, not able to get a stun onto any of the 4 clumped up members of DAMWON Gaming, and so they managed to back up.
Yeah.
And then turn the fight on Afreeca.
And also DAMWON hadn't used any of their flashes just yet, and I believe Showmaker also died with his flash up. So yeah, just didn't have really anywhere to go, and now has a dead stopwatch as well as he's building towards his Stokes Gauge as his lifeline passive of choice, of course. That's why our Yasuos have moved away from the old Phantom Dancer, which was, of course, a favorite for many, many years. But now with lifeline passive being shared, can't build Asterix, build that one, so he's going to be able to build that one up relatively effectively. And alongside his new and improved Static Shiv. Nicely done. So both of our top laners doing similar things here in Keen and Showmaker, as they're both without a kill just yet. They're just trying to utilize their CC, things like that, in order to control some of these team fights, which is what I feel like Silas has fit into. I mean, we both had a conversation about this earlier on in the day, and Silas feels like one of those champions that just causes a ruckus in a team fight, but he isn't relied on for his damage or for his tankiness, things like that. Wants to dash around, do some incidental damage, do some squishies, things like that, and try and cause some problems. And that's exactly what Keen's been able to do, especially with Slicing Maelstrom being picked up here from Flame. He's on the bottom side of the map, both of them actually facing off at the moment. And DAMWON are pressuring away from this blue buff. Canyon going to invest his smite in order to guarantee that that goes over to DAMWON Gaming.
They're just clearing out some vision right now as they are trying to at least maybe threaten the top tier 1 here. And going back to what we were just talking about Silas, when you do this Protobell Zanya build that he ends up doing, he has to really get in and try to deal damage. But the problem is that the Roa Iceborne Spirit Visage build gives him more HP, gives him more tankiness, more healing, more CDR. And you just have to wonder, well, yes, this build comes online sooner. You're not picking Silas to come online soon. You're picking Silas for his mid into late game transition, his mid and late game spiking, and his ability to just be a monstrosity at those stages. And so it's perplexing why you would go this itemization route, especially knowing that the enemy team comp is an early game team comp.
Yeah.
It's designed to try to get ahead early. So if you can just be durable, sustain through laning phase, sustain through mid-transition. First Drake of the game was bad, second one was worse. You could have just made it into a point where your champion would be more effective, but right now, Afreeca, they find themselves on the back foot. They're down in Infernal Drake.
They might be down a next one as well. It's a minute and a half, and that next Drake is going to be on the board, and no forward vision is available for the Afreeca Freecs. The jungle is dark and treacherous at this point in time on the bottom side of the map, and Brook might even get a dove here, but not going to find the tornado there from the Steel Tempest. So the Showmaker's going to back away, and thankfully Brook is able to actually find some CS. He's still 40 down against Flame, and things are just not looking great for this Renekton pick at all. It's counterpicked real hard, and that's why picking Renekton on the blue side just feels like a real bad thing.
Showmaker finally going to be able to raise this top tier 1 turret here, as there is 50 seconds, or about 45 seconds now actually, until the next Infernal Drake ends up spawning.
Yep, and DAMWON are going to have inside track and then some. on that particular pickup, as Flame is already in position to try and take that one down. They are going to be able to grab the Rift Scuttler there as well, so insult to injury. And even more irremovable vision available for DAMWON Gaming. So that second Infernal is looking like it has their name written all over it. Brook clears up the mini wave, but doesn't have a turret left remaining. Showmaker has done his job, shoving relentlessly, and he's even looking for this Krug camp. We'll see what he's going to be able to complete when he goes back to base, because I have a feeling that he's got a fair few things to augment his build with.
And let's talk about one of the other advantages that DAMWON has going for them right now is the level discrepancy across the board. You have one level between Flame and Brook. Dread is down a level to Canyon. Senin is down a level to Hoyt, and the level XP is only going to get worse. There's going to be instances where there's temporarily 2-level gaps, and it's just not what you want to have happening. I didn't quite catch what AP and AD Cannon just got from that dragon. I'm really sad because they had him highlighted.
Well, it's going to be a decent number now with a couple of Infernals stacked on top of one another. We're about to tick up to 25 minutes into the game, and this is the point where we're going to be transitioning our vision towards the top side of the map if we are DAMWON Gaming, wanting to finish off this game as quickly as they possibly can. Afreeca Freecs still wanting to play around this Kalista, the Galio, the team fight control, and Keen causing a ruckus like we were talking about. But Dread, it just feels like he's one of the Rek'Sais that hasn't been able to really find very much to do. I mean, Clid did make the champion look like the power pick that we know it can be. As Nuclear going 1v2 and looking like he's coping very nicely against Sol and Senin. Meanwhile, on the top side, I was a little bit distracted as Showmaker just kills the Rek'Sai. Going back to our original point, not looking like the Rek'Sai that we saw in the hands of SKT.
And Dead did just end up getting picked off there in the blue side jungle, which means that
they're missing an arm.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yes, it's all right.
All right.
I guess an understandable mistake to make here is DAMWON, man advantage, no jungler available for the Afreeca Freecs, and that means that Keen has to dive on forward. Hasn't had to use the Zhonya's just yet. Not even going to be able to use it at all as DAMWON grabbed that kill for free. Okay, the Renekton does pick up a kill on the back end, but Senin decides to exit the fight entirely. Oh, okay, Baron is going to get taken down. It is the Smite that picks that one up, and the Ace eventually does come in. It was close to something that was looking good, but in the end, it looks real bad for the Afreeca Freecs.
It really almost looked like there at the end that there could potentially have been a Baron steal. We'll take another quick look at this. Keen goes in with the slicing maelstrom from the Sylas, accompanied by the hero's entrance, and then you can see they're trying to lock up Flame. They end up getting him, but there's just so much damage on the side of DAMWON Gaming, and then right here at the end, Soul and Senin trying to come back in here. The Smite was early. The Baron was at 81 HP when Aatrox landed the last auto attack. Where were you sitting when he landed that auto attack?
I was sitting right here, and I haven't.
You witnessed it.
I did.
It almost looked like Afreeca was actually going to steal it. And even if they did, they only would have had one member likely survive with it. So it wouldn't have been the biggest of wins.
No.
Because DAMWON would still have had 4 people still alive. And right now, DAMWON Gaming, a 9,000, almost a 10,000 gold lead. It will be 10K in just a second here with 2 Infernal Drakes and a Baron.
This is almost feeling like a 2017 Afreeca Freecs loss. Remember when they were just real good at game 1 and then real bad at winning the rest of the series? It is certainly shades of that. As Afreeca, their game number 1 performance, I know a lot of you at home, Afreeca fans, dared to dream. But after that, it's been only a negative scenario here as DAMWON, they won in the draft and they won in every lane. And means it looks like they're going to be winning this game, as 10,000 gold at 27 minutes is certainly not a good news story. We've already got 2.2k as the Baron power play, and we've still got a minute and a half of this buff. They might be able to even break open the base, as World Ender is back available. In fact, every ultimate is back available. They may not have any flashes apart from Nuclears, but still feeling pretty good here to be a DAMWON fan. I think this is a great example of tidying up your gameplay as well. DAMWON, after game number 1, it looks like night and day, as that was almost a very punished back timing there from Flame, but he is actually not to make look foolish. And now Guardian Angel and the Steric's Gauge on Showmaker, so he ain't dying anytime soon. He's already died a few times this game. In fact, he's 75% of his team's deaths. He was 100% in game number 2, 75%. You got to lift your game, Showmaker.
And I mean, the itemization on the side of DAMWON is just so difficult and oppressive for Afreeca to try to deal with at this point in time. There's only 35 seconds remaining on the Baron, which I do believe just means that they get one more wave activation. So if Afreeca can try to hang on for this, they can try to coin flip the next Baron fight. But realistically, DAMWON Gaming should just be able to dive a turret. They're playing extremely cautious here.
Yeah, and you can see 2 members are actually on the top side of the map as Dread is going to show himself. That will be the go button for DAMWON, as Showmaker's going to take a lot of killing. If you remember, the ultimate is going to come out from Dread, but that actually looked like it missed. Or Showmaker just didn't take any damage from it, as Flame going to teleport in on top. That is a well and truly dead Renekton, as he's given up for the ghost, as Flame is able to pick up that kill. Meanwhile, bottom side of the map, DAMWON just straight up winning the game. It's Soul trying to dance away from the Aatrox, but that's looking so incredibly tough. Double kill comes in for Nuclear, as Nexus turrets are now the only thing under fire, apart from Dread, who's just going to get eradicated from his own fountain. Another minion wave does turn up, and DAMWON Gaming are going to finish this one off again before 30 minutes is going to hit. Game 1 feels like a blip here for DAMWON, as games 2 and 3 were epically clean.
Yeah, and the DAMWON game 2 and 3, they really did outperform Afreeca. In this game number 3 here especially, they just got these micro edges and advantages, and Afreeca just didn't seem to know how to stabilize. And it really starts with what happens down in bottom lane as well, where Soul just refuses to back up. There's the pressure that's coming in mid lane as well. And so a lot of stuff not really going the way for Afreeca, as DAMWON plow right through them here.
Yeah, exactly.
And keep their win streak alive.
I actually just got told something as well. Got reminded of something, of course. Cannon Stun is attached to his passive. Mark of the Storm stacks up to 3 times, gets a stun. Therefore, if you pick up Slicing Maelstrom, it just does ticking damage. It doesn't actually CC anyone.
Caster, by the way.
Yeah, I know. How embarrassing. Yeah. So shout out to Guineas on Twitter, who tweeted in.
Absolutely lovely.
Letting us know that that's an interaction that happens. And look, I sort of took it for granted that that would be a thing that would happen if you stole a Slicing Maelstrom.
Yeah, I falsely criticized Keen's play then.
Yeah.
I made an error.
Well, I mean,
I thought it would just stun them.
Well, it didn't do that, and it didn't do
Well, then
much
he
damage.
actually played correctly.
Oh, yeah.
In the moment, yeah. He shouldn't have flash forward then.
Yeah.
I thought it just stunned.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. It does damage, and that's all. So I guess if you flash forward,
that's not as good of an ultimate
people.
to steal then.
No, it's terrible.
Actually. Okay.
I don't know whether. I feel like good old Guineas over here should have probably included Keen in his tweet so that we could let him know, because, you know, maybe one of the other ultimates would have been a little bit better. He did steal a few different things there. I mean, one of the last breaths actually did look pretty good from Keen Silas, but it felt like Keen against the world, and the world was DAMWON Gaming, and they did not want him to win this time around.
Dread was making a lot of misplays as well, mechanically, in game number 2 and game number 3, and it's very bizarre to watch, especially because he was getting fortunate advantages being handed to him, but then not really doing anything with them.
Yeah.
And DAMWON was just able to take advantage of that consistently. And it looks like Afreeca began to get desperate at certain points in the games, and very uncharacteristic. I don't know when they're going to finalize a roster, because like what you were saying, it's sort of like they pick out of the hat, but I'll have you one better. I think they all just roll die.
Yeah, it might be the
they
dice
roll like a D20, and every player has a number attached to it. That's why sometimes we get 2 supports, 2 mids.
Exactly, and that's why Spirit, I mean, he seems to have applied for every single role. He's in all sorts of different positions here, as now Keen's played mid lane. I feel like it's also position-based, doesn't quite matter what your main role is. Autofill for the Afreeca Freecs seems to be the thing, and unfortunately, it's just not working out for this team. They're solidifying their spot in the bottom 4, And it's only Jin Air that's playing worse than this team is what it feels like, because they're certainly in the same realm as the Gen Gs, as the KT Rolsters.
And this is where also stuff started going bad here in the highlight, as it looked like for a second everything was going to be all peachy, but Showmaker ends up living with a sliver of HP. And then the rest of DAMWON are here to the party, as Kalista, you can see, she was crashing a wave, and then she says, I'm on my way, guys. Ends up arriving at nothing. And then right here, Nuclear just dropping a bomb on Soul's head.
Yeah, the F button was probably closer to an FF button at that point in time, because there just wasn't a lot of ways back into this game.
There we go. Freecs. This is the greatest Leroy Jenkins.
Is it a great one, though?
That was a great one. He ulted. He said he was going in there.
Certainly was a wipe for this particular engagement. As, yeah.
Oh, this is right here where I had criticized Keen's Kennen play, where I had said that he should have flashed forward. But right here, Afreeca, it does look like Keen is being definitely a little bit cautious here with the engage, and B-Rook did not want to go in further. We didn't see the end of that. This is almost where Afreeca could have potentially stolen the Baron. Right there, Keen was trying to do his best to deal as much damage as he could. Soul having to kite away, throw the Galio away to safety, and then right here, Canyon has to smite for HP, and it almost 81. Looked like the Galio was going to potentially be able to steal it.
Unfortunately, the Galio died actually before the Baron was able to be taken, so it was a smart play from DAMWON to, you know, keep the Aatrox alive, turn before actually finishing off the Baron. It did get dangerously low, but no harm, no foul, and DAMWON very cleanly clean up at the end.
This has to be an MVP for Showmaker, especially because he showed us the cheater champion right at the very end, able to just move 1500 range arbitrarily through minions.
I don't know. Actually, I want to give MVP to Flame. A, because he did the most damage in the game, but B, because he found the counter pick champion this time. Aatrox was his first choice into the Rise, and then he's like, oh, let's cast our mind back. I've got to go up against a Renekton. What can I do? Wait a second. 2013, it taught me. Kennen versus Renekton. Guaranteed counter matchup, and look what happened, LS. He slaughtered him.
He did.
In the lane.
He got very far ahead. He got multiple plates.
Yep.
Kleptomancy was able to do quite a lot of work in that lane as well. And then also because of the shortness of the lane, Renekton, I mean, there's the dynamics, and Flame was able to make good use of it. And I don't know if they came up with that on the fly. What?
Nuclear's going to be able to pick it up here on the Lucian.
What did he do? He killed a Kalista that couldn't locate the flash key? Oh, this was very difficult. Yeah, killed a Kalista that can't get away from the Aatrox and the Braum after having the stack applied to her. That's a great highlight. Hold on. I'll do you one better. How about this?
Yeah, but look at this
culling. There we go. Yeah, the culling that completely whiffs, the slow cancel on it as well. Eing forward, pressing Q on her. Amazing, magnificent. Comes in here after Keen's already locked up and unable to escape from the other teammates, as Yasuo was already on top of him. Doesn't quite matter. Presses W at the wrong time, misses. Doesn't do anything. Canyon.
No, I can see him auto-attacking. Attack moves towards a Galio.
Right.
Locks down the kill.
MVP, by the way.
Oh, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Oh, dear.
We're about to go into an interview.
Yeah, we are going to go into an interview, and I have a feeling that Mina may have just wanted to have a chat to good old Nuclear, because I would have given it to Flame otherwise. Maybe it's just too much handsomeness
I would have given it to
on the interview stage. I would have certainly given it to Flame myself. We are going to have the MVP interview, so let's throw it over to Ji-Sum for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-Sum with the interview translation, and we're going to be joined by Showmaker and Nuclear for the MVP interview. And Showmaker, you made a promise to win all the upcoming series, and I guess you had a haircut as well, so are you satisfied with your play today? Yes. Well, we did lose the first set, so we were a bit in a danger, but we were going back to game in game 2 and 3, so we were able to pick up the win. What about you, Nuclear? To be honest, yesterday, all of our players were really feeling well, so I was a bit worried about today's performance. So even the coaching staff took us to the hospital because we were feeling so bad. So I think that kind of was worth it, and we were able to come back. And Showmaker today, I bet you must be really confused. You were facing Brook in the mid lane, and then Keen rotated. And you also rotated to the top lane. How was it overall? At first, when I heard that Brook is playing in mid lane, I was like, what is going on? And then they tried lane swaps. And game 3, we kind of wanted, we were able to give it back by us trying the lane swap. So how was facing up against Keen? I mean, that doesn't really happen a lot. I think he got some of the grooves, you know. He was really good. What kind of groove? You know, the good laners, they have really great force around them and aura. You can feel it. Their movement and skill shots were so clean. And Nuclear, well, there were a lot of things going on in the top side of the map. So how were you performing in the bottom side of the map? So during the practice, we tried a lot of matchups, and no matter what, well, I have a lot of confidence, so I had all my faith to our coaching staff. So is Ash Tompkins composition from the coaching staff? Yes, it was. And Showmaker, we're gonna go through this highlight. Irelia is a bit of a risky champion, but you proved yourself by performing so well. This is the highlight. Two of them was jumping on your face. Well, I saw Zach doing the slingshot, so I just landed my stun to stop him from using his Q and also ultimate. So, and then I had backups and I was able to win. Because our teammates were calling me to go dodge to the downside, you know, to the river, so I was able to survive over there. Why did you play Irelia for the first time today? Brook is originally a top laner, and they were banning out a lot of champions in the mid lane. So there were a lot of mid champions banned out. So I was just picking any available champions that I could use in the mid lane. And Nuclear, so you were able to bring that Lucian back to your hand and even made solo kills and performing so well. So how was the laning phase in game 3? Well, I was the master of Lucian in the good old days. It was good old days, so I had a lot of confidence. I was feeling really comfortable. So I was having some easy game. Game 3, the draft was really interesting. You first picked Yasuo, and then as soon as they locked in Renekton, you guys picked Kennen. Whose idea was that? All of our draft and composition comes from Jung-soo Kim, our head coach. And I think he is a great coach. He's the best. So you made a solo kill, so we're gonna go through this highlight once again. This is the replay. Did you calculate all that? Well, I wasn't really like trying to solo kill it. I just wanted to burn some of his summoner spells, but I was able to eventually take her down. So yeah, I got the solo kill over there. DAMWON Gaming, so you guys are on a 6 win streak right now. What's your goal for the rest of the second round? I made a wrong calculation. Last time I got the number wrong, so today I just want to say we're gonna try our best to win all the games possible. I actually didn't expect to make it to the 6 victories in a row. So I just want to make sure to go even higher in the ranks. I believe DAMWON Gaming, you guys are the strong team to make it to the higher ranks, and thank you very much for this interview. This will be the MVP interview with Showmaker and Nuclear from DAMWON Gaming, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ji-sun. Fantastic to hear from both of those guys. And I have an update for you. As it turns out, LS was actually right. So even though it might seem like Kennen Ultimate shouldn't actually stun because Mark of the Storm passive is on the Kennen, it still says in the Ultimate that it applies Mark of the Storm, and therefore, if Mark of the Storm, regardless of which champion is applying said Mark of the Storm, if it hits 3 stacks, it's still going to stun. So
I'm a coach, by the way.
It does, in fact, actually stun. Silas is just really annoying, right? Because he has so many different interactions. Oh, man. So, yes, does stun.
So, Keen's play actually was really poor.
Yeah.
All right. Saved.
Yeah, saved. Well, I mean, or back on the
back
on the barbecue.
Yeah.
As it were.
You know, it's like when Homer Simpson goes into the brush.
Yeah.
Except I didn't go all the way in. I just sort of come back out. I'm like, wait a minute.
You're like just a face.
Wait a minute.
You're like,
am I getting gaslit here for a second? Like, someone on Twitter's trying to gaslight me.
Yeah, no. He's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. But guys, because it was a 3-game series, it means we're only going to have a relatively short break until we get into Sandbox versus Jin Air. So about 30 minutes. And then we will be back. I'll try and console LS before Jin Air. Wish me luck. We'll see you there.